wrestling was the kind of thing that I watched like always growing up. It was just kind of always existed. I watched it with my dad actually, and it was a weekly thing that I always did from about the time I was like as long as I can remember until probably when I was like 16, like late into high school or whatever. I just always watched it. It was always my thing. I was there for the Monday Night Wars and everything. It was just a kind of a part of my life. So much so that when I was like 15, my friends and I all got together and then we built a ring in our backyard and we had our own backyard wrestling thing. We filmed it and we cut promos, and there were only like 5 of us. So when one wasn't wrestling, they had to run over, grab the camera and film, and then they were doing the color commentary, and then that guy would run out the back of our makeshift entranceway, come back around, grab the camera. We kind of did this thing, and for a long time I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. This is my passion. Like, this is what I really want to do. But just by nature of things, life started happening, and then I went off to college, and then there was obviously no place to. I wrestled in high school, but like I went off to college, and then it just kind of things moved on from there, and I got more into the production side of things, and then that's kind of where my life went. And then I found myself in my 30s going, man, whatever happened to that dream? And lucky enough, I worked at a company that said, hey, remember that dream you had? What if we filmed you going back and trying to do it again when you're way too old to do it? And so that's kind of where this all came about.
It's always really cool to work with someone that's a lifelong wrestling fan, because right away that means we're gonna have a common bond. I didn't actually make a ring in my backyard, but I grew up watching wrestling too, and on every Saturday and Sunday I'd watch it with my buddies, and then we'd go out into someone's front yard or backyard, and we try to put each other in Boston crabs and camel clutches. So working with James and Lawrence too was really cool for me. It's especially from where I am now and thinking about now I'm 15 years into this business, all the experiences and knowledge that I've had. It's cool to, in the context especially of a documentary, pass along some of that knowledge and chop it up about wrestling psychology, stories, who said what wrestling is really like. This documentary was really fun for me to do. So when we first got into the ring, James has been a wrestling fan for his whole life, so he's got a lot of really good instincts, and his expectations were relatively low too, which is cool. He came in humble and wanting to learn stuff. One of the hardest things about wrestling is learning not only how to just master the physical moves, but how to layer it so every move has intent. And not only that, but the moves and intent need to also be in line with your character and the story you're telling in the match. And that whole thing I just explained has to become instinctual. And if it's not instinctual, you're not going to be in the moment when you're performing in front of people. Mastering that is a skill that could take a lifetime. I'm still working on it. So the challenge then is, how can we get James and Lawrence as far down that path as possible in a week?
Yeah. From my humble perspective is very much that like Johnny understood that we're not going to be the best wrestlers in the ring, but if we can make sure that everything that we do, every punch that we take, every punch that we give or body slam that we give, if it's all with the kind of, like he was saying, towards the works towards the narrative of the match and the characters, then it'll be a good match. And I think that's what people wanted most. At least the participants, Lawrence and myself, wanted it to be a good match. We didn't want people to feel like they wasted their time coming to see it.
It wasn't that hard.
I
think working, like, for me, it was I was stoked when James and Lawrence showed up, because they're both super cool dudes, and we had a lot of common ground. I mean, James has been a wrestling fan his whole life, so have I. I think the hardest thing was the time frame. It's impossible to learn everything you need to know about a wrestling match in a week, and learning what the basic skills that you need to know are, and prioritizing things in a way that you realize you're not going to know everything. You might not even get to learn half of what you need to know, but or half of what you could know. But these basic things are what you need, and figuring out how to prioritize and how to just set a day and say like, well, James has got a match on Saturday, and that's in a couple of days. So let's get moving. I think that was the main challenge.
Yeah, I'd say besides the time frame, there was a fun challenge of when you're in a room with another wrestling fan, you guys ultimately end up talking about wrestling and like your favorite moments and your favorite moves and stuff like that. And so there were several times where even though we were kind of under the clock, Johnny Lawrence and I would get caught up talking about, remember the heart attack that the Heart Foundation used to do? Let's try that. Let's just see. Let's just try
That's
it.
right. We started to just try random tag moves.
He was like, well, you guys are a tag team. You're gonna need some tag
Heart
moves.
attack.
Let's just
Heart
do it.
Foundation.
Try this one. Yeah. What can we do right now?
We were coming up with all kinds of stuff.
Everything. And then it was like, let's move the crash bed in. Let's go to the top rope. It was kind of like everyone felt like, I felt like a kid again. And that's what we used to do. We would just say, we have this ring. Let's just try everything. Let's try it. And it was a lot of fun, but it was also kind of a hurdle because you have to start with the basics, and you have to get those basics down because you got a match on Saturday.
It's more fun to jump off the top rope.
Yeah. I don't know how important a 450 splash is going to be to my first match, but it was a great experience. Yeah, it was a great experience trying. Yeah, and Johnny is the first person to say, "Oh, you should absolutely go to the top rope and try it." So,
yeah, if you don't try it, then you're just going to be thinking about it the whole time. You got to get it out of the system.
Exactly.